Today I've come to the small Devon village of Trusham and to the parish church dedicated to St Michael the Archangel. Now, like so many of these Devon churches, this dates back to around the 13th century, and there were probably religious buildings on the site before that. Just as I walk past the church door, I see an archway here with the date 1641 set into the brickwork. Now the church says it's open, so let's start by having a look inside. Well, inside we find a very small, compact building, possibly could seat 50 at a pinch, equipped with a modern version of a pew or a bench seat. Got a rood screen, nicely carved, and the crucifixion depicted at the top there. The pulpit is very elaborately carved. And then as we go further in, we have the usual accoutrements of a church. On the wall here I see a very old inscription. It's been rescued and screwed to the wall. You can probably see it a lot better on camera than I can read it with the naked eye. But I'm seeing a date at the bottom here of 1604. High on the wall is a magnificent memorial to John Stooke and Mary, his wife. We have images of them. And it talks about them giving some funds to feed the poor and to give the poor of the area 4 loaves of bread a week. If I go a little closer, you may be able to make out the inscription. There's a small brass plaque on the wall, and being brass it does reflect the light, unfortunately, but it's in loving memory of S.J. Dyer of the 9th Devonshire Regiment, who was killed in the Battle of the Somme, July the 1st, 1916, aged 21 years. Now that was the first day of the Battle of the Somme, when the soldiers were commanded to walk towards the enemy. They were forbidden to run, and thousands, many thousands, were just mown down by machine guns. And S.J. Dyer is one of those very unfortunate people that was in that first wave on that first day of the Battle of the Somme. And tucked away on this wooden panel, easily missed, is a list of 5 men of the village who gave their lives in the First War. And we see the 4th from the bottom is Sidney Dyer. And just to give a warm welcome to anyone coming to the church, on this table here is some glasses, some water and some biscuits, and a little bit about the church. Well, that's the inside of this church. We'll have a look around the very small churchyard. We have to remember that the village of Trusham today only has 200 inhabitants, so we're not going to see a lot of grave memorials. Well, I'm starting at the far end with a few memorial stones. Now these are not easy to read because the inscriptions are on the base. This one here is to James Dyer, 1941, aged 69, and then his wife Bessie, who followed in 1958. There's a pair of crosses here, and this is for the surname of Carey. First one is the wife, Margaret Harriet, the wife of Offley Henry Carey, and then at the top you see the word Offley, and then Henry Carey, priest and rector of the parish. This one to William Dolling, who died in 1910, aged 60, and his wife, Eleanor, who followed in 1918. If I step back a little bit, there's one to William Rabjohns, 1979, aged 78. Now there's one over at the back there in the hedge, but that's difficult to read, so we'll carry on moving this way. Excuse me if I walk backwards here, because the problem is the sun is very low and bright and casting shadows. This is Honor. Does that say 11th daughter of George and Sarah Woodland? 18. I can't believe that's 1808. That would be very early. But anyway, if that's 11th daughter, that's quite something. This is Sarah. I think that says the third daughter of William and Sarah Woolland. And then over the back here, Sarah, the beloved wife of John Burridge. And then just in front of those is one to another Woolland. A little area for the Woolland family. One in the shade to William Chamberlain, 1852, aged 60, then 1828 underneath, and 1844 further down. Work my way back a little bit. There's one there over the back with just the curbstones, and that says Clifford William Gardiner with an O in it. John James Harvey Dunstan, the husband of Pauline and dear son of Alan and Ruth, aged 27. And this one we've lost the inscription. Work my way back. This one is to Harvey Allen Dunstan, 1963. And here we have a modern grave. Just as a little plaque at the end saying 2022 for John Henry Gove. Samuel Corsley, 1912, aged 79. You can see there's a few more memorials. We'll work our way down to those that we can read. This one here is also a new grave. The earth is still mounded up. This is Sandy Alec Cameron, 2013. Here we got William Cheeseman, 1913, and his wife Elizabeth. And over here we see Ada Caroline Brock, 1963, aged 82. As I work my way to the other end of the churchyard, there's an area with a rope round it, and a notice saying they're deliberately leaving it for the wildlife, and in fact they're monitoring the number of invertebrates that they find on this piece of land. Now we'll have a look at this one here at the back. Sort of Celtic cross design. Until the day break and the shadows flee away. Arthur Thomas Gregory, rector of this parish for 25 years, 1888. And he's got a very prominent memorial in a prominent spot in the graveyard. If I just move over here, watching my feet, a very elaborate one. Lying down now, you can see where it's got broken off the base. Very elaborate design. I see a hand there, whether that had a bit more joined onto it originally, it's not clear. And the inscription, well, it will be there underneath the moss on the side of the curbstone, but not easy to see at the moment. Well, I'll work my way around the other side of the churchyard. This one, Robert Mountjoy Kettlewell, and some initials, and he was a priest, and 1953, but it seems to say born 1804, but of course that's not possible. Rector of Trusham, 1949 to 53. Now here is a very small, sort of a table tomb, raised up horizontal, and because of its size I imagine it was for a child. There is the remains of an inscription, but can't make that out. This is a very clear one and reasonably recent. The Redoubtable Ernest Glendenning. I wonder what that means. I wonder what redoubtable means in that context. And loving memories of Nancy Glendenning, a wonderful wife and mother. And some very beautiful flowers being put on there. Obviously very much cared for. Next to it is George Potter, 1950, aged 81. I'll work my way back. Charles Causley, 1914. Now that one's too difficult to make out. It's an interesting tree. I've no idea what that is. This one is to another Causley, Charlotte, the wife of Samuel Causley, 1883, and Maggie Causley on the lower section. I think that's Causley as well. And certainly the one behind that's Samuel Causley, 1901. A much newer one in the front here. Edgar Gleave and Dorothy Kate. And Dorothy Cleave. Now, as you would imagine in a small village like Trusham, the same surname is reoccurring in groups. Edgar George of George and Vera Dart, aged 28 years in 1945. Paul Andrew Yates, known as FB. He died in 2005, who lived life to the full. Going back now, a row of reasonably modern ones here. Frederick Dollings and his wife Is it Anne? That's an unusual first name, Is it? Across here to Kenneth Roy Hearn, and then another Hearn, and then Frederick J. Tickle. And there's a post standing here. I'm not quite clear what that's saying. Well, I think I've shown you everything I can of this little village church. There was nothing planned. I saw the church marked on a map and came out here and just enjoyed it for the first time myself. It's a lovely little spot. Well worth the effort to come on out here. Hope you enjoyed my walkabout. Till the next time.